My name is Adrian Cook, and I'm going to be doing kind of an interview with George, and he's got some exciting things going on right now and have a alternative name that you go by for your music, Vertical Leap. Maybe we can just kind of kick things off by you telling us about that and kind of where that comes from and what that means to you.
Sure. I wanted to create music that illuminated life and inspired people. I called my dad and he agreed that Vertical Leap represented this idea of elevating your spirit and celebrating life. I registered the name as a band name in 2001 and I've been creating under that band name ever since. And so it's everything that I do. I have my own production company, Gentry Productions, and then musically everything comes out as Vertical Leap. So in 2002, I released my first album, and I was lucky enough to get a few songs on the radio. And ever since, those songs just amaze me that they continue in regular rotation all around the world. So on terrestrial and satellite radios. That's where it comes from.
So tell us more about your music and just kind of the style of your music and more of kind of if we were to look you up on the radio or on iTunes, what would we hear?
The primary genre is New Age with sort of contemporary classical, secondary jazz, world fusion. Of course, a lot features guitar. Not everything, though, because you also compose for orchestra, jazz, classical, film. So a variety of genres. I listen to a lot of different things. I enjoy many styles of music. If you hear someone doing something in a musical style or in a different instrument, but maybe you can adapt that. A lot of times musically, think about blues. A lot of the blues licks are modeled after the horn arrangements in jazz. So you're taking something from one area and adapting it to another.
I know that some of the artists that you work with are here in the room, and just kind of share kind of how you've grown in that aspect of your artistic career and kind of the things that you really enjoy about that.
You learn from people when you're working with them, and of course you also develop relationships. And so you're working in the studio, it's a different dynamic. But when you sit down with someone and you start working with their ideas, then you have to switch hats. And because I've composed and had music out there and so on, I understand what people experience and the various questions they might have or concerns. So being able to work with someone and put them at ease and help them realize their vision for what they want to create, that's actually very exciting because it's still a creative process. Composition is one thing and arranging, but when you're in the studio and you're recording, you mix it, you master it, you go through this whole process. It's quite lengthy and involved, but it's also very rewarding. And you sit there at the end and you have this finished product. And in the business terms, it's a product, but it's also some hopefully really cool piece of art to share with the world.
You've done some film scoring as well, and so tell us about some of those projects.
It's an entirely different world, and I never thought I would wind up doing anything like it. Like I said, I started as a guitar player and studied jazz guitar, so I knew some theory and so on. But one day, my old friend Jerry Miranda asked me if I would compose some music for a film that he was directing and producing. He had written it with Eddie Rodriguez, and it's a fantastic little story called The Promise. I think in the end he actually maybe appreciated what I composed. So
we are still friends. So
we're still friends.
apparently.
Here we are. So that opened up a whole new world. It was so exciting. In film, you have a whole different dimension, and it's about emphasizing what's happening in the story, and you follow the plot and dealing with the visuals. And the visuals, obviously in film medium, visuals are the centerpiece. So the score is not the story, it's what you're doing to enhance the story. So it's a really exciting thing to do. And I've done a few other films.
So what are some of the other films?
Did a film, it was called Matsuda. It was a martial arts film. It was a local independent film. I composed sort of a fight scene, was maybe a minute long or something. When I composed that piece, like a minute and a half song called Call to Arms. And it sparked a whole nother idea for me, and I ended up composing a whole nother piece, a 9-minute overture called The Tower of Travail. So the one idea evolved from the other idea, just from that film. I wanted to get this out, get this project out, refresh, remind people that the music's out there, what I have, and then start recording this new material in the summer and take it from there. So,
are there any previews that you would like to give?
Sure.
To